everyone, welcome to this yoga video. This video recording is excellent for people who are new to yoga, perhaps have some balance issues or dealing with health concerns. You don't need a lot of space and you don't need a lot of equipment. I'm wearing some yoga socks. Yoga socks are a great way to have contact with the earth beneath you. A yoga mat's a great tool to have. And you just need space to be able to step side to side in either direction, forward and backward. So you don't even need to have a big space to do this yoga video. The most important aspect of yoga is staying connected to your breath. As long as you're breathing, you're doing your yoga pose correctly. I'll make a recommendation to not try to look exactly like me, but to look for places of gentle tension, a gentle stretch without pain or discomfort, and just modifying as you need to alleviate any pain or discomfort. Or if your balance is challenged, just bring your feet wider apart. But in today's video, we're going to try to keep our feet hip-width apart, which is both fists fitting in between your feet, or wider. So that being said, let's begin our practice. If you need to take a moment to clear the area or anything like that, just pause this video and then rejoin us. So for those of us that are already in our space, we're going to ensure that our feet are hip-width apart. And we're just going to kind of rock onto the toes and back a few times. Toes to heels, just feeling connected to the earth beneath us. And then bring the body to stillness. And let's take a few complete breaths. A complete breath is breathing in as much air as you can and then exhaling it out. And we're going to do it slowly both directions. So breathing in deeply through the nose if possible. Slowly through the nose, exhale. 2 more times, breathing in and out. 1 last time, breathing in. Long, slow exhale. So we'll be moving with our breath. If I'm suggesting an inhale and you're exhaling, or vice versa, don't feel like you've done anything wrong. The important thing is to just continue to breathe. So if you're backwards from the way I'm cueing, that's perfectly okay. So with that in mind, we are going to, again, make sure our feet are hip-width apart to have that nice stable base for good balance. And we're going to sweep our arms overhead as far as our shoulders allow, inhaling up, bending our knees as we exhale down. Tailbone pulls to the back of the mat. As you breathe in, reach up out of the waist. As you exhale, bend your knees as far as your knees say is okay. Breathing in and out. 2 more times, breathing in and out. Last time, breathing in, exhaling out. Bring the hands up nice and high. Float your right hand down to your leg and lean to your right while your left foot is pressing into the earth beneath you. This is to stretch out your spine and make space between your vertebrae. You want to make sure that your shoulders back and your arms over your ear, that you're not leaning forward. Bring both arms up, reach out of the waist, squeeze the buttocks, give a little back bend. Inhale your arms up. As you exhale, sweep the arms behind you, bend your knees. Inhaling up, exhale, sweeping down. 2 more times. Inhaling and exhaling, inhaling and exhaling. Let's give it 1 more time. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, reach up out of the waist, float your left hand down, leaning to the left, your right foot pressed into the earth. Breathing into that right side. Again, we're warming up the body, stretching out the spine, getting the blood pumping to the arms and legs. Inhale the arm up, squeeze the buttocks and give a nice little back bend. Inhale forward, exhale, sweep the hands behind you. Inhaling and exhaling. 2 more times, inhaling and exhaling. 1 more time, inhaling and exhaling. Inhale the arms up and exhale them to parallel to the earth. Pick up your right foot and step off your mat, letting your toe point across the room. Both legs will be straight, and the heel of your right foot is in line with the arch of your left foot. Keep both legs straight, breathe in deeply, and as you exhale, put the back of your right hand into the thigh, perhaps by your knee or shin, and let your left arm reach up towards the sky. Your arms should be stacked over one another, in other words, not coming forward or floating down. Keeping your hips forward and your shoulders back in one straight line. Keep the left foot pressed into the earth as you bend your right knee and come onto your forearm, reaching overhead. You can gaze forward or gaze up towards the sky, whatever feels good to your neck. Use your abs to bring your arms back parallel to the earth and straighten your right leg. Turn your right foot in parallel to your mat. Interlace your hands behind your back and roll your shoulders open. You might be getting a very big stretch here. If you want to amplify it and you can tolerate it, push your hands away from your body, pushing it to the back of the room. That's going to open the chest and shoulders more. And then release the arms and shake them out. Bring the arms to stillness and turn the toes out on both feet. Inhale your arms up overhead and bring your hands together and exhale them to your heart center. Now we're going to bend the knees only as far as our knee says, okay? And as we sit down into goddess pose, we're going to let our tailbone pull to the back of the room. The crown of the head is lifted. The lower you go, the more the muscles are working, and of course we're creating strong bones with all of our standing poses. Inhale your arms up, shoulder width, step back onto the mat. Make sure your feet are hip width apart, squeeze the buttocks, give that little back bend. Inhale up, exhale, sweep the hands behind you, inhaling and exhaling 2 more times, inhaling and exhaling 1 more time, inhaling and exhaling. Inhale your arms up now and exhale them parallel to the earth. Take your left foot and step off the mat. Both legs are straight. Your left heel is in line with the right arch. Keeping both legs straight, breathe in deeply and exhale as the back of your left hand goes into your leg and your right arm reaches up towards the sky. Continue to push your right foot down into the earth. Breathe into your right side. Then come down onto your forearm as you bend your left leg and reach overhead. Keep pressing that right foot into the earth, stretching out through the hip and rib cage. And then use your abs to bring your arms back to parallel. Turn your left foot in so it's parallel to the mat and bring your hands behind you and interlace your fingers. Roll your shoulders back and you can decide if this is a good enough stretch. If you want to amplify it, push your hands away from your body. Stretching the shoulders, opening up the chest. And then shake those arms out. Bring the arms to stillness. Breathe the hands up overhead. Exhale to heart center. Turn the toes out on both feet and sit down into your goddess pose. Choosing to bend your knees just as far as you're comfortable. Remember your tailbone pulls to the back of the mat. Crown of the head is lifted. And then we inhale as we reach up out of the waist. Make sure your feet are hip width apart. Squeeze the buttocks. Breathe in deeply. Exhale to a back bend. Inhale up. Exhale. Sweep the arms down. Inhale up. Exhale. 2 more times. Breathing in. Exhaling out. Breathing in. Exhaling out. Inhale the arms up and pick your left foot and step back. The foot's on a 45-degree angle. Your feet continue to be hip width apart like if you were standing on railroad tracks. Bend your right knee. Turn your left hip to the front of the mat and reach up out of the waist. We're in Warrior One. Again, if your balance is challenged, just take your feet wider side to side on your mat. The longer you hold your pose, the better it is for bone density, as well as muscle strength. Now let's straighten that front leg. Breathe in deeply and exhale from your hips, forward fold, and connect to a spot on your leg that is a comfortable stretch. Your weight should be divided evenly between the front leg and the back leg as you gaze down towards your foot. Keep your right hand on your leg and take your left arm and spin it up towards the sky, gazing up towards your hand. Sweep your hand back down, bend your knee, tighten your stomach muscles, come back to warrior one. That front right leg is still bent, the left hip still squared to the front of the mat, and we're reaching up out of the waist. Bring your hands to heart center and step your feet back to hip width apart. We're going to sit down into chair pose. As we do so, we push our tailbone behind us. Let the crown of the head reach up towards the sky. And again, you're just bending your knees as low as your knees and back say is all right. Inhale your arms up, back to shoulder width apart. Take up your right leg this time and step back with your foot on that 45-degree angle. Bend your left knee, twist that right hip to the front of the mat and reach up out of the waist. We're now in warrior one on this side. And then straighten your left leg and forward fold, looking for your spot of gentle tension on this side, which may not be the same as the previous side. Leaving your left hand in place, take your right arm and spin it up towards the sky. Gaze up towards your hand or across the room, whatever is comfortable for your neck and your balance. And then sweep the arm back down to join the hand and leg. Bend your knee, engage your abs, reach back up out of the waist. Bring your hands to heart center and step your feet hip width apart. Sinking back down into child's pose. Chair pose. Our tailbone pulls behind us, crown of the head is lifted. Excellent. Let's shake those legs out and arms. Very nice, everyone. So now let's go ahead and bring those arms back up overhead. Going back to our crescent pose, we float our right hand down, lean to the left, and maybe you're stretching a little farther now that you're warmed up. Keep pressing your left foot into the earth as you're stretching across the room. Use your abs to bring your right arm up, reach up out of the way, squeeze the buttocks, give that little back bend, and we're gonna inhale forward now, exhale to a half lift. Our shins are our contact point. Our head is gazing down, crown of the head pulling towards one end of the room, tailbone pulling in the opposite direction, stretching out the back of the legs and the spine. Bend your knees, tighten your stomach, and inhale your arms back up. Float that left hand down to the leg. As you exhale, let that right arm go over your ear. Right foot presses into the earth. Again, we're warmed up, so maybe we're stretching a little farther now. Use your abs to bring both arms back overhead. Squeeze the buttocks, give a little back bend. Inhale forward, exhale, fold to that half lift. Hands are back to connecting to the shin. Tailbone pulling one direction, crown of the head stretching the other. Bend the knee, engage the abs, and sweep the arms up overhead. Hands together as you exhale to heart center. We're going to revolve our chair now. So first we'll sit back into chair pose. Our tailbone's pulling to the back of the mat. Crown of the head is lifted. And then we're going to take our right hand and put it on the outside of the left knee. Left hand to the left hip as we gaze over our shoulder. Breathing into your waist. Nice deep inhales and exhales. Continue looking over your shoulder. And then bring your hands across the body and rotate now. Right hands on the hip as you gaze over your right shoulder. Hands come back to heart center and we straighten the legs and just give them a little shake out. So now with our feet hip width apart, we'll inhale our arms back up overhead, picking up your left foot, stepping back on that 45-degree angle, bending the right knee, squaring the left hip to the mat as you reach up out of the waist. You're back to warrior one. Your legs are going to stay in position just as they are, but you're going to turn to your left from the torso and drop your hands parallel to the earth. Fingertips are pulling in opposite directions. Belly is firm, tailbone's pulling down. And we're in warrior two. Rotate your upper body back to warrior one. Hands come to heart center as we step the feet together and just pedal those heels to relax the legs. Let's take that to the other side now, inhaling the arms up, stepping back with your right foot. It's on a 45-degree angle and your left knee is bent as you're reaching up out of the waist. Leave that lower body in place. Turn to your left as you go to your right. Turn to your right as you go to warrior two. Fingertips are pulling in opposite directions, belly's firm, tailbone's pulling down. And then turn back to warrior one. Hands come to heart center and we step back onto our mat. Double check, make sure your feet are hip width apart. Interlace your hands and press them away from you as you sit back with your tailbone pulling to the back of the mat. This is bear pose. So we're just modifying our chair a little bit differently now. Changing our center of balance, so you might feel like your balance is a little bit challenged as opposed to keeping your hands at your chest. Bring your hands back to heart center and stand up and shake those legs out. We're going to go now to some kneeling positions. So if you'd like to take a moment to get a sip of water, excellent. Also too, if you want to get a pad for your knees, that's also an option. In the absence of a towel or mat, you can take the existing mat and roll it up, creating a little cushion for your knees. So both knees are going to be hip width apart. And so with that being said, I'm going to ask you to take your right foot off to the side of the mat. Your foot is parallel to your mat. Keep your right hand on your right leg. Inhale your left arm up, and then let your right hand slide down your leg. You are in gate pose. Float your hand back down, pick up your right leg, and extend it a big step forward. Your foot's flat on the mat as you press to a low lunge. You can leave your hands on your leg or take your left arm and extend it up, stretching out the front of that left hip even more. And then float the hand back and bring both knees hip width apart on your mat. We're going to do the same activity now on the other side, taking your left leg out, foot's parallel to the mat. Leaving the left hand on the leg, inhale your right arm up and exhale as you lean away. Keeping your hips forward and shoulders back. You're in one straight line. Float your hand down. Bring your leg in front of your hip and then take the big step forward. Sole of the foot is on the earth as we press into our low lunge. Again, you can keep your hands on your leg or take your right arm in and reach up as you amplify that stretch. Float your right hand back down and press yourself back to kneeling. So both knees are going to be on the mat, hip width apart. Our hands are going to be on our hips, like we have our hands in imaginary jean pockets. You're going to press your hips forward as you squeeze your buttocks, and then just angle your head up gently towards the sky, giving yourself a slight back bend. And then inhale yourself forward and bring your hands down onto your mat so that your back is flat. And we're just going to do a little cat and cow as we let our tailbone and head come up, and then around the spine, drop the head and tailbone. Inhaling up and exhaling down. One more time, inhaling up and exhaling down. And now I'm going to ask you to come to a seated position. So roll your mat out to cover the floor. And let's have you all get a little better look at what we're doing here on the mat. So we're going to have our legs extended out in front of us. Leave your heels in place. Walk your sits bones away from you. So your legs are nice and long and tall. You're going to inhale your arms up, exhale in the direction of your toes, and then inhale yourself back. Spine is tall, and we're leaning from the hips, not rounding the spine. So we breathe in deeply. Exhale towards the toes. Inhale back. 2 more times. Exhaling and inhaling. Exhaling and inhaling. And now we're going to exhale and go as far as we can, and then float our hands to our shins, ankles, or feet with a nice tall spine. Again, not rounding it, but a nice lean from the hips with a tall spine. Finding that spot that you connect with gentle tension. Breathing into the low belly, low back. And release, give those legs a little shake out. We're going to take the legs wide now. And this will look different for everyone, but you want to keep the knees straight, heels down, toes up. If you feel like you're real tight on the inner thigh, the hands may need to be behind you to prop you up. Or perhaps you can come a little forward. But again, don't let the knees buckle. If you're feeling a little bit more flexible, you can start to lean again from the hips, tall spine, looking for your spot of gentle tension. Once that tension is achieved, just continue to breathe nice and deep into your low belly and low back. And now let's take your hands and walk them across your body as you stay bent over, going over to your right shin, ankle, or foot. Press your left hip into the earth as you're leaning away from it. Gaze over the top of your foot to ensure that your cervical spine is nice and tall. And then release, walk your hands across your body, staying nice and low in your fold, and come over to the opposite shin, ankle or foot. Again, leaning from the hips with your right hip pressed into the earth as you are gazing over your foot. And walk your hands back to center, and then bring yourself upright. Give those legs a little shake out, and then bring the soles of the feet together. They should be as close to your pelvis as you can, with your back not rounded, but your spine tall and your pelvis pressed forward. We're going to move our knees away from the earth with our breath, so we'll breathe in. Exhale as you press the knees towards the earth. Inhaling up. Exhale, press down. Inhaling up. Exhale, press down. 2 more times, breathing in and out. In and out. Very nice, everyone. Let's walk the feet away from the body. Soles of the feet are still going to touch. If you feel like you can't fold quite as well, you may negotiate your feet back towards your body. If you extend your legs too far, you may not have the stretch that you're looking for. But we want the spine tall. Grab hold of your shins, breathe in deeply, and as you exhale, start to bring yourself forward. If you can't get your forearms on your shins, you can anchor there to pull yourself deeper into a forward fold. So finding your spot of gentle tension, looking at your feet or the top of your mat so you know your spine's nice and tall. We'll stretch that outer hip now. And release. Come on up and let's take the legs wide again. And again, hands can be in front of you or behind you to keep those legs straight. But let's see if we've increased that flexibility any with our stretches and start to walk the hands away from us until we find that spot of gentle tension. And walk your hands back towards you, and let's bring the legs together. Let's bend your left leg and keep your foot right beside your knee. Take your right hand and grab a hold of the left knee, keeping it upright, not letting it fall out. And put your left hand right behind the hip, not behind you so that you're leaning, but so that you're nice and tall. As we breathe in deeply, we're going to push our leg into our belly. As we exhale, we're going to twist, looking over the left shoulder, keeping the belly and leg in contact. Stay twisted as you exhale. Inhale, make sure your spine's nice and tall. A few more breaths. And release and come forward. Shake those legs out. And then let's pick up the right foot. Step it back so it's beside the knee or your thigh. Take your left hand and wrap it around that right kneecap. Let that hand come behind you right at the hips so your spine's tall. Breathe in deeply, and as you exhale, twist, looking over your right shoulder. Inhale, keep that spine tall. Exhale, hold your twist or increase it. 3 more breaths. And release, shake those legs out. So, spinal twists are really great for our digestive system. Immunity resides in the digestive system, so I like a lot of spinal twists. If any of these are challenging to you, just know that they will get easier with practice. This video is safe to do daily. And you may choose to just do segments of it. So that being said, if you need a sip of water, just take a moment, pause the video, and then join us back for our next yoga pose, which is staff pose. Staff pose is one big isometric contraction of the body. And we'll begin by putting our hands on our mat. We're going to squeeze our shoulder blades back, and in doing so, from the hips, we're going to lean forward just a bit. You're going to feel a stretch in the back of the thigh. I'm going to ask you to pull your toes towards your chest. Continue to push your chest towards your toes. And as you're pulling those toes back, that stretch runs down your legs. Now, keeping the chest forward and the toes pulled back, squeeze your thighs together as if you were holding a hot cup of coffee between your knees. Continue to squeeze the shoulder blades back, lean the chest forward, pull the toes back, and squeeze the thighs together. And release, shake those legs out. Come up on your heels and point your toes. Inhale your arms up, exhale as far as you can, and then float the hands down to grab the shins or ankle or foot. This is going to stretch the top of the foot and the front of the ankle up into the front of the shin. So point those toes as far as you can to get that good stretch. And release, giving those legs another little shake out. We are going to bend our legs, and we're going to keep our feet and knees together. If you want to take the legs wider apart, that is an option. Legs together is a little bit more challenging. We're going to work our low belly and low back. If you have any weakness or injury to the low back, you can omit this exercise or keep your hands in place as we lean back and forward, just letting your hands be your guide. If you feel like you've got the strength and ability to take the arms and float them off the mat, parallel, this is also an option. We're going to be nice and tall. Breathe in deeply, and as we exhale, we're going to squeeze our shoulder blades, leaning back as far as our core muscles can hold us. Inhaling towards the toes. Exhale just as far back as your tummy and back muscles allow. Inhaling. Exhaling. Inhaling. And exhaling 2 more times. Last time. And as you inhale and come forward, elongate your legs, reach for the shins, ankles, or toes, and see if it's a little bit easier now to grab down the length of your leg as you've stretched things out a bit. And release. Very nice, everyone. I'm going to ask you now to lay on your side. When you lay on your side, you can let your head hold your neck. You want your hips stacked, so not leaning forward or backward. Keeping one knee close to the other, you're going to grab that top leg and bring your foot towards your buttocks. This is going to stretch out the front of your thigh, which worked really hard in our warrior poses. Always hold your stretch to gentle tension. And then release, and I'm going to ask you to switch sides. Again, supporting your neck. Hips are stacked, not leaning forward or backward. Bring your knees in line with your hips, and then pull that top leg so the foot's coming towards the buttocks. If the knee travels past the other, you lose the stretch. So both knees need to be in alignment with one another. And release. Laying on the length of your mat, you're going to lay on your back with your knees bent. Push your arms down into your mat. Take a big breath in, and as you exhale, push your hips up towards the sky. Butt should be lifted. Hips are reaching up towards the sky. Shoulder blades are pressing into the mat. We're in bridge pose. Release slowly down. Grab your knees and make some circles with your hips. Switch directions. Float your feet down to the mat. Take your right leg and extend it up in the air so that your toe is pointing. Put your left hand on your hip, right hand's on the floor. Our hand is on our hip to ensure that our torso isn't rolling as we make circles with our hip. So not moving from the ankle and foot, but from the hip, we're going to go down and around in a clockwise and then counterclockwise movement. So it doesn't matter which direction you start. Your circle could be as big as your hips allow. If there's any popping or clicking, make your circle smaller. And be very slow and deliberate, not using momentum. And then let's switch directions. Again, that circle can be bigger or smaller based on the direction and the hip that you're working. 3 more. Very nice, everyone. Float that leg down. Make sure those hips are nice and long away from the shoulders. And then put your right hand on your right hip and extend your left leg, pointing the toe. And again, we'll begin to make our circles. You may notice how one side's a little different than the other. So just controlling your speed and the size of your circle as each hip allows. 2 more times. And then switch directions. Three more times. And then float that foot down to the earth. Our feet are hip width apart. We're going to press both arms down to the mat and push back up into our bridge pose. So keep those shoulder blades down, hips high. We don't hold it very long, but we do repeat it. It's great core work. It also stimulates your thyroid. And slowly lower. Grab those knees and make a few circles. Switch directions. Float your left foot down to the earth, straighten your right leg, and gently pull back to stretch out the back of the leg. Getting a nice stretch through the calf and the hamstring. Pulling it back just as far as your body says okay. Looking for gentle tension. Float that leg down and let's switch sides. Gently pulling back, noticing how one side perhaps is more flexible than the other. And then float that leg down. Bring both feet and knees together and bring your arms out to the side, palm up. Let your gaze fall to your right as your knees fall to your left. Keep your right shoulder blade down as you twist your knees away from the top of your torso. Breathing into your side, nice and deep and slow. And then slowly bring the knees up. Walk your hips away from your shoulders, making sure your spine is nice and long. And then let your knees fall to your right as you gaze to your left. Keeping that left shoulder blade down, breathing into your side. And bring your gaze back to center. Bring your knees to center. Wrap your hands around those knees and give yourself a big hug. And maybe rock side to side. Release the legs and let your arms come down to the side. Flex your feet and engage your stomach muscles, keeping the small of the back pressed into the mat as you slowly lower your heels down to the earth without your back arching. Well done. Let the knees fall open now. Soles of the feet are touching, and walk your feet as close to your pelvis as you can. You might choose to bring your arms beside your body, press your shoulder blades down into the earth. We are going to leave our knees butterflied as we press back into a bridge. This is a really great pelvic floor exercise, and if you know how to do a Kegel, you can implement the Kegel while you press into the bridge. So take a big breath in, press your shoulder blades into the mat, and press your pelvis high. This one's more challenging. We don't hold it as long. Slowly lower down. Bring your knees to the outside of your rib cage and give yourself a big stretch. And then we'll practice that one more time. Bring the soles of the feet together. Butterfly the knees out. Push the shoulder blades into the mat. Perform the Kegel. And then press the hips up into the air. Remembering to breathe throughout your pose. Slowly lower. Bring those knees to the outside of your rib cage. Maybe rock side to side. Bring the body to stillness and elongate the legs. Let the feet fall apart and let your palms rest palm up. Close the eyes. Finding a place where you're very comfortable, so make any adjustments that necessary. With the body nice and long and stretched out, the arms relaxed, the eyes closed, we'll begin to focus on our breath. Noticing the breath entering your nostrils and filling your chest. And then noticing how the chest falls and the sensation of breath leaving your nostrils. Continue breathing in and out. Breathing through the nose to help humidify the air and prevent dehydration. The body breathes itself naturally. There's nothing you have to do. Just continue to follow your breath for our final moments of Shavasana. And now begin to wiggle your fingers and toes. Make some circles with your wrists and ankles. And take a moment to slowly and deliberately roll to your side before pressing yourself up to a seated, upright, easy, comfortable position. Pelvis is forward, spine is tall, and our hands rest on our knees. With a nice tall spine, take your left ear to your left shoulder. And then slowly come up and switch directions. Slowly bring the head up. As you inhale, bring your shoulders towards your ears. Exhale, let those shoulder blades sink low. Inhaling the shoulders up. Exhale nice and long and slow, letting the shoulder blades sink down. One more time, breathing in as much air as you can. Slowly exhaling all the air out as your shoulder blades sink nice and low. Our final deep breath has us reaching our arms out to the side, inhaling up, exhaling the hands to heart center. Thank you for joining me today. Namaste.